Democratic Republic of Congo, my beautiful country with its flowing blue rivers in the north, acres of green, lush rainforest in the east, tropical fruit trees lining the streets, and all forms of mineral wealth that you can imagine. In the late 1980s, my sister and I used to play in the streets of Lubumbashi for hours, completely unaware that my beautiful country was in a state of ruin, that my father, a pediatrician, was unable to make ends meet despite spending hours in the hospital ward, and that we as a country were on the brink of civil war. As the political and socioeconomic conditions in my country deteriorated, my father took the difficult decision to move us to South Africa to give us a chance at a better life. Despite leaving Congo at a very young age, I missed it terribly, longed to return, longed to remain connected to other young Congolese women like myself. As a teenager and young medical student, I spent hours watching YouTube videos on life in my beloved country. And that's when I discovered the reality of life as a woman in the Congo, a reality that could have been my story if my father had not been educated. Thousands upon thousands of young Congolese women like myself were dying every day. Not because of the raging war in the East with its mass rapes and epidemic levels of sexual violence, or because of the annual outbreak of tropical infectious diseases, including Ebola. No, thousands upon thousands of women were dying because of preventable and treatable conditions during pregnancy. In healthcare facilities in Congo, one woman dies every 25 minutes during pregnancy or childbirth. This is even worse in rural communities, where pregnant women walk for 6 to 8 hours just to get to the nearest clinic or hospital, where they find no medication, no equipment, and an understandably frustrated and unmotivated healthcare worker. Many women choose to actually give birth in the village under the care of a birthing mother because they're too afraid to attempt the 6 to 8 hour walk to the clinic in case they end up like their neighbor or so-and-so's wife who bled to death on the way to the clinic. As the years went by, my sadness and horror turned to anger and frustration. As a medical doctor and doctoral student in maternal health, I knew that 99% of these conditions were preventable and treatable if these women had access to high-quality antenatal care during the antenatal period. I had a solution, and with the help of my good friend and public health expert, Dr. Kopano Mabaso, we developed the Onam Toto Wako project. This initiative basically aims to go into rural communities to the pregnant woman using a mobile clinic and allow these women to see their babies through ultrasonography while being screened for and treated for the leading causes of maternal mortality in the region, including malaria, high blood pressure, HIV, and anemia. We believe that this initiative would prevent maternal deaths and allow more mothers to see their babies grow into young adults. We submitted this initiative to the Aspen Ideas Festival last year, and we won a seed grant to pilot this initiative in rural Congo. As soon as the pilot began, I quickly realized that the situation on the ground was a lot worse than I'd anticipated. One woman really sticks out in my mind. Her name is Wallo. Wallo lived about 50 kilometers from the nearest clinic or hospital. She was a 30-year-old woman and was currently pregnant for the 12th time. When I met Wallo, she was extremely anxious about this pregnancy. You see, 2 of Wallo's previous pregnancies had been stillbirths, and 6 of her children had died before the age of 5. Wallo only had 2 children in a community where children are a sign of wealth and determines whether your husband, the breadwinner, will stay with you or will leave you for a more fertile wife. We saw about 52 women in that one village on that day, on the mobile clinic. Some as young as 11 years old. More than half of these women had symptomatic malaria during pregnancy. But because of our project, all these women were screened and all these women received treatment. The project was a huge success. However, despite the success, I went home feeling sad and disappointed and discouraged. Because I realized that while it is true that women in sub-Saharan Africa and developing countries continue to die because they do not have access to healthcare facilities, there's another truth, that women in Congo continue to die because they continue to fall pregnant. And they continue to fall pregnant because the majority of their children die. This is a vicious cycle and complicates other interventions, such as the introduction of contraception. How do you convince a mother to use contraception when she looks around and sees the majority of her children dying? This experience helped me reevaluate our finishing line. I set out by thinking that if we could improve access to antenatal care for women in the community, we would reduce maternal mortality. I now know that this cannot happen unless we ensure that the babies and the children of these women survive. This truth will not go away. It is a daunting task, but this is my home, and these are my people. So I am determined to throw off all discouragement and continue working and fighting, facing each new challenge one day at a time. Thank you.